with the submarine's captain for a rendezvous the following week while Ben and Prince Mikasa stay aboard the patrol boat. Ben felt Kimsu brought him along to ensure his safety in his absence. By early June, Yamashita's units near Aritao engaged in battles with U.S. tank battalions, hastening the retreat into the Kiangan Pocket. On the evening of June 1, a farewell gathering was held for the 175 Golden Lily Chief Engineers inside the underground conference room of Tunnel 8. By then, all remaining treasure had been securely hidden in Tunnel 8, Tunnel 9, and the cemetery site, brimming with gold bars. Ben, accompanying Kimsu, witnessed the engineers indulging in sake, toasting and shouting banzai amid the festivities. Meanwhile, around 200 slave laborers were confined in the cemetery site chamber, guarded by Japanese soldiers with heavy machine guns. Kimsu, the architect of this underground fortress, spent an hour with the engineers before taking Ben on a final tour of the complex. They navigated through connecting tunnels, marveling at the stacked gold bars and other treasures. Kimsu warned Ben about wires that could trigger dynamite explosions. Returning to the farewell party, Kimsu delivered a stirring speech, commending the engineers and expressing gratitude in the Emperor's name, prompting more enthusiastic banzai shouts. As the clock approached midnight, General Yamashita arrived and insisted that Kimsu exit the tunnel while ordering Ben to remain inside. Kimsu vehemently refused, citing his oath to personally escort Ben out. Reluctantly, Yamashita acquiesced, leading Ben to the surface while Kimsu followed. Yamashita departed without a word, leaving Kimsu and Ben to hurry away. Suddenly, Ben heard what he thought was an aerial bomb and instinctively sought cover as massive explosions reverberated throughout the ground. The following day, a significant sinkhole marked the collapse of connecting tunnels, hinting at the fate of those trapped underground. As the ground settled from the tremors, Ben witnessed Kimsu's tears and realized that Kimsu had followed through with the devastating act because of a direct order from the Emperor. Many of Kimsu's staff, including Navy Captain Honda, were entombed with the engineers. Upon reaching Ben's house, Kimsu revealed that it was time for him and Colonel Adachi to depart. They intended to head to Kamigin Island that night, where a submarine awaited to transport them back to Japan. Despite the darkness, Ben could discern tears in Kimsu's eyes, prompting his own tears. Kimsu urged Ben to return to his father on the farm, emphasizing not to join the guerrillas or align with the Americans, but to stay and assist his father with rice planting. Kimsu relinquished his leather satchel and sword, handing the tunic and sword to Ben. He then entrusted Ben with the satchel containing a set of mops, instructing him to safeguard them in a wooden box buried behind the house. He emphasized the oath never to share the mops with anyone and to wait for his return, repeating the mantra Asha 10 times. Kimsu reiterated the warning against joining any factions, stressing that doing so would lead to danger from the Japanese. With a final plea and another repetition of the mantra, Kimsu departed for good. Ben watched Kimsu's departure, holding onto the sword, satchel, and tunic before entering the house, carrying with him the weight of Kimsu's parting words and the responsibility of preserving the mops until Kimsu's return or passing. As the sunrise heralded a new day, General Yamashita retreated up the Asin River into the Kiangan Pocket, where he would spend the last 3 months of the war. Meanwhile, the sword that Prince Takeda had bestowed upon Ben carried a rich history. Crafted from man-made steel folded with darker metal from a meteorite and encased in a sheath of wood and leather. It was a gift from Kimsu's grandfather, Emperor Meiji, who cherished fine swords. Unaware of its immense value, Ben used it for practical purposes, cutting rice stalks during harvest and tending to the fields in the following years. When spring arrived, Ben donned the white tunic adorned with the red and gold chrysanthemum patch on the left breast while plowing the fields. However, his father cautioned him against wearing it publicly, fearing reprisal as a collaborator. Despite the passing years, both the tunic and the sword endured, serving as a tangible reminders of Ben's oath. Throughout this time, Ben remained faithful to his promise, preserving the mops and honoring Kimsu's instructions. On September 2, 1945, following Japan's formal surrender, General Yamashita Tomoyuki emerged along a mountain trail, his samurai sword in hand, as he approached American lines to surrender himself and his staff. The past month had been only a 3-mile advance by American forces, and Yamashita appeared worn and thinner, having endured the siege in the Kiangan Pocket, which had taken a heavy toll in terms of men lost. Despite the hardships, Yamashita did not opt for ritual suicide, expressing his belief that doing so would shift blame onto someone else. As Yamashita and his staff approached the American Reception Committee, led by Military Police Major A.S. Hack Kenworthy, there was a significant moment. Lieutenant Colonel Leslie M. Fry, an eyewitness, noted that a younger Japanese personnel came forward carrying neatly stacked gold bars, totaling half a metric ton. Yamashita, in a gesture of surrender, unbuckled his sword, bowed deeply, and presented it to Major Kenworth. However, the aftermath of Yamashita's surrender took a grim turn. 5 months later, on February 23, 1946, after a trial marked by controversy and what many saw as a miscarriage of justice, Yamashita was executed by hanging. Interestingly, the charges against him did not mention plundered treasure or wartime looting. Instead, Yamashita was accused of war crimes due to atrocities made by Admiral Iwabuchi's sailors and Marines in Manila, actions that went against Yamashita's explicit orders. Yamashita's trial and subsequent conviction were indeed unprecedented in history, marking the first time a defeated enemy nation's general was tried for alleged war crimes by the United States as a sovereign power. However, the circumstances surrounding the trial raised serious questions about the fairness and legality of the proceedings. The tribunal in Manila was not composed of legal experts, and there were allegations that the prosecution was pressured by MacArthur's headquarters to hasten the trial, minimize court procedures, and rely on hearsay evidence. Yamashita's defense team appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, where 2 justices denounced the trial's conduct. Justice Murphy criticized the rushed trial, lack of time for adequate defense preparation, and the absence of proof linking Yamashita to recognized violations of war laws. Justice Rutledge also criticized the departure from legal traditions and warned against establishing oppressive precedents. Despite these criticisms, Yamashita's conviction was upheld, and his subsequent appeals, including one to President Truman, were unsuccessful. Many believe that Yamashita was unfairly treated due to MacArthur's desire for revenge and to salvage his reputation. However, there were indications of a hidden agenda behind Yamashita's trial and execution. The case of General Yamashita serves as a controversial and complex chapter in the history of wartime justice, raising important questions about legal standards, fairness in trials, and the potential for political motivations to influence judicial processes. As the dust settled after World War II, the search for Yamashita's treasure became increasingly frantic. The rushed trial of General Yamashita was driven by a hidden agenda. The goal was not only to deliver swift justice, but also to suppress the deeper secrets and power struggles entwined with the hidden wealth. As the legal proceedings drew to a close, those in pursuit of the treasure realized that direct questioning of Yamashita yielded few answers. They had to pivot, delving into the shadows of his inner circle for the clues they desperately sought. Encountering this roadblock, they focused their strategy on his trusted driver, Major Kojima Kashi. Leading this clandestine operation, cloaked in intrigue and suspense, was Severino Garcia Diaz Santa Romana, better known by the enigmatic moniker Santi. Despite the atrocities, Santi and his team operated with precision and caution. Their goal wasn't revenge or retribution. It was information. They needed to extract vital details from Major Kojima without causing harm or tarnishing his memory. What Santi sought was the truth about the hidden gold. He wanted Major Kojima to divulge every secret location where General Yamashita has stashed bullion and other treasures over the past year. Santi needed specifics, the exact entrances, the layout of each site, and a detailed account of any booby traps lurking within. The fate of vast fortunes hung on these revelations, and Santi was determined to unlock every hidden secret. The denial of Santa Romana's existence by the Philippine government today is nothing short of calling a living legend a myth. His legacy, however, lives on through the testimonies of his family members, his brother, mistresses, and children. Their accounts, coupled with tangible evidence such as tombstones, documents, tapes, videos, and eyewitness testimonies, paint a vivid picture of a man who was more than just a legend. The truth is substantiated by marriage licenses, confirmations from senior CIA officials, the Marcos family, Santis business associates, bank records, and legal battles spanning over 6 decades. These irrefutable pieces of evidence stand as a testament to Santa Romana's existence and his vast wealth, which includes cash and gold bullion stashed in banks across the globe. Santi's efforts in recovering gold became the cornerstone of many secret funds, including the enigmatic M Fund. He held the key to America's golden lily recoveries until the arrival of Ferdinand Marcos, who usurped Santi's position and became the new custodian of these clandestine treasures. Santa Romana may be a shadowy figure to some, but to those who know the truth, his legacy is as real as the riches he safeguarded. The period following Santi's completion of recoveries in 1947 marked a significant lull of 2 decades before Ferdinand Marcos initiated similar operations. However, in the late 1950s, a subtle yet unmistakable resurgence occurred as small groups of Japanese individuals quietly returned to Philippines under various guises. Some purportedly came to search for the remains of the deceased soldiers for Shinto burial rites in Japan. Tokyo extended its assistance to the Philippines, offering ostensibly free infrastructure projects such as irrigation systems and roads that often took peculiar routes through mountainous terrain. Additionally, Japanese salvage companies appeared on the scene, offering to clear the clutter from Manila Bay and restore its battered waterfront. In the course of their activities, they salvaged sunken ships laden with bullion, cleverly disguising their gold retrieval efforts. Japanese corporations also undertook construction projects in seemingly random locations across the Philippines, building factories that required extensive excavations. These factories, once operational, employed Filipino workers assembling electronics like TVs, tape recorders, computers, and household appliances, which were then shipped back to Japan in unusually heavy crates. Although the CIA was aware of the smuggling of gold bullion out of the Philippines through these covert channels, they chose not to intervene, allowing the intricate dance of intrigue and deception to continue unabated. The beginning of Marcos's involvement in gold recovery was marked by happenstance. Upon learning about 2 Japanese individuals digging in Ilocos Norte, the home province of the Marcos family, in search of their own hidden stash, Marcos took swift action and confiscated their gold biscuit bars. This incident served as a catalyst for Marcos' deeper interest in the realm of hidden treasures. As a shrewd and ambitious politician, Marcos actively sought out connections and information about Santi's clandestine recoveries. Leveraging his legal background, Marcos positioned himself strategically within Santi's operation, known as the Umbrella, gradually gaining influence and control over certain aspects. By the time Marcos ascended to the presidency in 1965, he had established significant ties, including a direct approach from the Japanese underworld figure Sasakawa Ryochi. Sasakawa proposed joint efforts in recovering war loot, setting the stage for Marcos' expanded role in the world of hidden treasures. In 1971, Marcos seized an extraordinary treasure that would later become world-renowned. A Filipino locksmith, an amateur treasure hunter named Rogelio Roger Rojas, ventured into a Japanese army-dug tunnel and stumbled upon a breathtaking solid gold Buddha weighing an impressive 1 ton. This Buddha, with its distinct Burmese style, had been taken from a Buddhist order in Mandalay, symbolizing centuries of accumulated wealth. The aftermath of Rojas' recovery unfolded into a saga of intrigue and legal battles, culminating in a landmark court case before the Supreme Court of the State of Hawaii. The trial record of Roger Rojas and the Golden Buddha Corporation versus Marcos revealed astonishing details and concluded with a historic $43 billion civil award, marking it as the largest civil award in judicial history. The comprehensive findings of fact from the trial, supported by extensive evidence including testimony, transcripts, documents, photographs, and depositions, remains an unparalleled testament to the hidden treasures and their complex journey. The discovery of numerous documents within the Presidential Security Command archives following Marcos's downfall